I know, but mommy, Hi. I'm sorry we have little technical difficulties. We're waiting for a setup now. Give us a minute. Hi guys, thank you for joining. Be patient while we wait for everybody to come in, and as well as Dr. Tucker. So, hey Sheila, hi Wei, hey Olia. Thanks for joining us. Hey Jenny. Hey Peter. Hi everyone. Hi Lisa. Hi Dennis. Hey Lynn. We're waiting for everybody to check in, and then we're waiting for Dr. Tucker as well. We have a little technical difficulties, but we'll be there. Yes, I'm so excited for today's topic as well. It is gonna be so awesome. Hey Un. Hey Minarti. Okay, I need to leave you just a little bit. So sorry. Yeah. Hi Kim. Okay, we get Tucker in there. Um, Hi, Dr. Tucker.
Hello, Janti. Can you
Technical
hear me?
difficulties makes life more fun.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Okay. Good. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm okay.
Yeah, glitches is good in life. So, how was your day?
My day was great. Always. No complaints.
That's good. That's good. Hi,
What do you want
everyone.
to do tonight?
Sorry?
What do you want to do tonight? I need let me see if I can get some earbuds.
Oh, yeah, I need to get connected to. Give me. Okay. Okay, now I'm connected to my earpods.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
Had it all set up, and then everything
Yeah,
changes.
like life does, right?
Can't.
Uh, yeah.
Can you? Let's see if I can hear you now.
Okay, can you hear me? I can hear
Oh
you.
my God, so much better. It's like the opera. It's like a concert.
I
It's
cannot carry
beautiful.
a
It's like
tune.
church. It's
I
it's
can't carry a tune
amazing.
though.
Me neither. Me neither.
Not
That's
something. It's not in my forte.
okay. Now, and you can still hear me okay?
I can hear you. Okay,
All technical
perfect.
problems resolved.
Uh,
Good.
okay,
What do you
so
want
we
to
have
so
1 hour to nail this.
sure. Sure.
Okay, so November, which is Movember, as people
Movember.
call it. And so, what is Movember?
Well, November is for a lot of, like many months, has a lot of special things. And November is Movember, which is described as Men's Health Month, but really what it always comes back to is prostate cancer or prostate health, men's health as relates to prostate cancer. I know it's also mental health, and I think it's also World Diabetes Month. There's a
It
few
is.
other major things going on too, right?
It is. It is. It is a diabetes month in November as well. So.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
But Movember, I mean, the key to Movember is the
Mhm.
mustache,
Yeah,
right?
I
Aren't
don't
all the
have one.
guys supposed to be? Yeah, why? You know, you have one on your Insta page, right?
Oh yeah, I
You
do.
you can just get that paper one to put on for
Yes.
tonight.
Yes.
You could do that.
Yes. Yes.
But yeah, I remember I did shave my head once for children's cancer. So, but
Mm,
I haven't done the mustache, the full on,
no.
and I've just got the beard. But it's really to help signify, and I guess these mustaches, I mean, raising money, typically for prostate cancer research and care, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But like we said, there's a lot of things going on this month. Mental health is equally important, and it's men and women, kids and adults. But I guess tonight we want to focus on the Movember and prostate health.
Yes, the man. We are. I mean, we talk about women so often, and I think the breast cancer is very highly, celebrated and very highly acknowledged, and everybody goes on Pink October. So I think we don't want to leave out the men. And we understand that men is a little bit more shy
You
in
think so?
trying.
You think men are
I think
afraid to talk about their health?
I think so. They're afraid of needles. Do you know that?
Uh, yeah, they are. They are. They are.
They
But
are.
I
We're
guess, I mean,
babies.
honestly, do you think, I mean, I do you, how much do men talk about their health compared to women? When you get together with your friends, do you talk about your health?
We do, actually. We
Right.
do. We talk about it. Yeah.
When we
But
get
I don't.
together,
When do you?
we talk about sports, we talk about stock markets, we talk about what car we bought, what car we sold, what wine we drank, what, right? You know, what school our kids go to and things, but we don't talk about our health. Men
Is that,
never talk about their health.
do they see it as a weakness to talk about oneself?
I
It's
don't
not
think that,
macho.
I just don't think that men, macho might be the right word. I just don't think it's part of what guys talk about when they get together, and it's probably it's a negative.
Mm.
It's not a good thing because I think there's a lot of learning that can happen, and the flip side of that, being a prostate cancer specialist, I have conducted, participated, joined in with countless prostate cancer support groups.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get men talking about their health. And when men start talking about their health, you know what always comes up? Sex.
What? I did. I did ask you
Yeah,
about
you
that.
did. You wanted to make sure you were texting me, Dr. Tucker, we have to talk about sex. about men's sex tonight, Movember, right? So we can dive right in. I thought I'd be casual and dance around it, but you can't really talk about prostate health without talking about sexual health. That's really the issue. So again, you know how these work. Every time you ask me a question, I put a question back on you. And so do you guys, when girls get together, do you guys talk about sexual health?
Kind of. We do. We do.
You do. I'll
We
leave it
do.
at that.
Yes.
I should probably, no follow-on question to that. I should just leave that alone.
I guess women tend to talk about a lot of things. We don't feel it as a weakness. We don't feel it threatening. We don't, we talk about even, I don't know, from the mundane things to the serious thing, and we kind of later on give each other a hug, So I don't think
Yeah.
man has that support.
I think in prostate medicine, a lot of the barriers come down. And to back up a little bit, some background on prostate cancer. So prostate
Yes, please.
cancer is an incredibly common cancer, and it's often treated in men by either surgery or radiation or hormone therapy. And all of those treatments are going to reduce sexual function and sexual desire, sometimes temporarily and sometimes permanently. And without getting into some of the details of the prostate cancer and its diagnosis, I think what's worth mentioning here, because it doesn't come up often enough, is the consequences of treatment on family, which meaning on husband and wife, or on husband and partner. Because the reality is, most of the operations, no matter how skilled the surgeon is, very often the nerves that control erections are either cut or damaged, and erectile function goes away. The other issue that comes up is radiation. And with really good radiation, there's fewer sexual side effects. However, what's going to happen is that over time, there's going to be damage to the nerves. So again, that signal from the brain, hey, I should have an erection, doesn't go down to the groin. Yeah. And then third is going to be the problem of hormone blockade. A couple of doctors, maybe 75 years ago, got Nobel Prizes for castrating men with prostate cancer. Now, you can't, yeah, exactly. That's somebody snapshot that. Are you frozen? You've got that.
Yeah. No way.
No way. Right. Now, here's the thing. And they got Nobel Prizes for this because it's 1950 and there are men with prostate cancer with visible tumors on their body. Now, take yourself back to 1950. There's no CAT scan. There's no MRI. There's no blood test for prostate cancer. How does a man even know, or a doctor diagnose it? It's because they have trouble urinating. Their prostate, which is this organ that only men and dogs have. No jokes, no comments there. But women don't have, just men and dogs have prostates.
Okay.
And the reality is, it grows, and as the prostate grows, the center area where the urine passes gets smaller and tighter, so they can't urinate.
Yeah.
Now, it's a hormonally sensitive cancer, and doctors discovered that if they took testosterone away by castrating them, you have to make the face whenever you say the word.
Yes.
When that
brutal.
The tumors disappeared. Now, imagine what that does for sex drive, right?
Gosh.
And
Yep.
so you can't talk about prostate cancer in any form, whether it's early or late, without addressing the risk and likelihood of problems with sexual activity. And then the next thing that comes up, and to be a prostate specialist, you have to be comfortable talking about sex. You have to be comfortable in the office saying erection, okay?
Okay.
climax. These are words that have to be stated when you're talking about prostate medicine. And
Yes.
here's the thing,
Okay.
and I learned this 25 years ago as when I was a very young doctor. Now I'm a very old doctor. But there's a huge difference between sexual function and sexual desire.
Oh,
And one is the ability to
okay.
have an erection, and the other one is called libido,
Mm-hmm.
desire. And
Mm-hmm.
I have met patients and their spouses over the years that prioritize in every different possible direction. It is impossible to predict, to say, well, I really, some people want to have erections and intercourse. Other people only care that their spouse wants to have erections and intercourse, but they're not actually interested in the act. They just like
Okay.
knowing that you're interested is more than enough. And every permutation is possible. I've seen it, but it's something that has to be spoken about, and spoken
Yeah.
about openly, in Movember and around prostate health. Now, that
Yep.
was kind of like a lot to start with. You have a question
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
me? In that we went right into some of the
I know. I
you
did,
know
and you
we
did
could talk
so.
we could talk about prostate cancer numbers, and we could talk about how surgery works, but I think that people ought to know how prostate cancer impacts quality of life. And it
Mm.
really impacts it through sexual health. That's probably one of the most important things. Um, what was I going to tell you? The other issue is, how does prostate health connect to men's health? Because
Mm-hmm.
it's not just Movember Prostate Cancer Month, it's men's health.
Yeah.
So do you want to know how it's
Everything.
connected?
I can figure a little bit when you have prostate and that family life is not delivered, you'll get mental health. Psychologically, you're very depressed, and then you're not happy, and there goes your love life. That's how I think it goes.
That's part of it. Imagine also if a man hits 45 or 50, and his partner sort of nudges him, like, wink wink, well, the kids are awake, and let's have some family life, as you say, and they're
We are on
tired that
public social network here. Family
I don't think
life.
family life is going to get us blocked. If that's our code word, everyone, family life, enjoy. I hope you have family life twice a day. And but what happens to a lot of men, well, let me even now back up. It's said that women spend 70% of the so-called healthcare dollar. So every dollar spent, women spend it at the doctor. It might be for kids, it might be for obstetrics, it might be for low back pain, it could be for anything, which
Hmm.
says men don't spend a lot of money at the doctor. Men
Oh,
don't go to the doctor as much
very true.
until about age 50. And one thing that drives men to the doctor is heart disease. They
Yes.
get chest pain, they get heart attacks, they get nervous.
Yes.
What's the second most common reason a 50-year-old man goes to the doctor?
Cholesterol. Diabetes. Cholesterol. Oh, like ED?
ED, exactly.
Oh, at 50?
Erectile dysfunction. That they're not functioning like they were 18 anymore. That brings men to the doctor all the time. Now,
Yeah.
one of the most common causes of ED is adult diabetes and heart disease.
Yep.
And all of those are caused by the things that we've talked about before, which are diet and lifestyle,
Yep.
insulin resistance, and metabolic health. And there's
Yeah.
really good papers that can tie heart disease directly to prostate cancer in such a way that you could really say that heart disease is a risk factor for prostate cancer and vice versa. Absolutely. They're tied together.
Any preventions? You will, I mean, you're known to be a preventive doctor. You like preventions better than treatment. So,
well, yeah, I mean, so if you're suffering or being tested for any of those things, then it's all the goodness that you and I both know about how to manage lifestyle, whether it's low carb and keto diets or fasting. It can, we won't show bias. It can be medicine. It can be sport. It can be fixing sleep apnea and snoring.
oh yeah.
But think of erectile dysfunction as a sign of poor metabolic health. And there's usually a reason. And so those reasons tend to be nerve damage from diabetes or blockages. If you get blockages around the heart, you probably have blockages around the blood vessels that are supplying energy to the testicles. And to go back to kind of where I jumped in with prostate cancer, if you actually have prostate cancer and we've done surgery or radiation, and you've already got issues in the background that led to this, it's very difficult, but definitely not impossible to recover. And so just as often as I see patients who have had all their testosterone taken away because of prostate cancer, I also have patients that we have given high doses of testosterone to, which is good for their health, their physical health, mental health, and sexual health. So it's two sides of the same coin, and high testosterone is a really good thing for the body. But it's all about the timing. Yeah.
Okay.
High testosterone is
Wow.
good. Yeah.
Okay.
And
Talk about that. What does Viagra, can Viagra help here?
sure. But I can't remember the last time I ever prescribed Viagra. Now, I don't work for any of the pharmaceutical companies, but Viagra was like, the first. That's like saying, do I still sell a Model T car? There are better molecules than Viagra
No,
out there.
what I'm asking is, like, once you're like kind of like treated for prostate, once you're doing the chemotherapy or so, something like Viagra, can it help?
Right. It
Because
can.
like we're talking about family life going to
Yeah. No, it can
going
definitely.
bad. So
It can definitely help. Developing, maintaining, respecting the idea of sexual health is really critical to the overall treatment and recovery in prostate cancer. So, for example, when we have patients who need to be on medicine that suppresses their male hormone for a year, that's typically what we end up doing. Is there are shots and pills that will put men into the equivalent of menopause. We call it andropause. Okay, women have estrogen, men have androgens, so we call it andropause.
yeah.
But we put men temporarily and reversibly into andropause. But we suggest that they take a Viagra equivalent, something called Cialis, either twice a week or at a lower dose every day, to improve their sexual health, to continue getting as much blood flow into their penis. Even partial erections are better than no erections when the whole system's not working very well. And then later, when they're in recovery, it's interesting. Cancer is such a scary word. And people often ask after they've recovered, and maybe they fully recovered and they had an erection, maybe they had intercourse for the first time, but they're scared or they're scared to have intercourse because they mistakenly think that they could spread cancer by having sex. They cannot.
Okay.
You cannot spread prostate cancer by having intercourse. So, but people are scared, and it's very brave of them to ask these questions, which they're normal questions. And and it's, maybe you don't want that in your Google search. You can just ask us and we'll tell you that's not possible. And you're not going to hurt someone. You're not going to hurt your partner, and you're not going to hurt yourself. And having intercourse is also not bad for prostate cancer. And people don't get prostate cancer because they did or did not have enough, too little, or too much intercourse either, or family time,
Okay.
as we're calling it on IG Live.
Yeah, that was
And-
a myth though, saying that if you don't have family life, like twice a
You're,
week, for instance, that you're
uh-huh.
prone to have a prostate cancer.
Yeah,
Like the belief that if you don't have kids at a certain age, you're prone to breast cancers and all that.
that's
So,
different. There is an association there.
oh, okay,
In breast cancer, part of the risk of breast cancer is associated with each menstrual cycle. So
okay,
if a woman starts her period, say at 15, and has late menopause at 55, that's going to be, 40 years of
years, yes,
cycles. And that's going to be 480 periods.
okay,
You're like, oh my God, nobody told me that when I was 15, right? You'd be
yeah,
like, that's not
okay,
fair.
that's
However, if you have kids, that basically takes 9 to 12 cycles
stop.
away.
Yes,
And
okay,
so, and if you breastfeed for a year, that's another probably 9 to 12 cycles away. So if you have 3
okay,
kids and you breastfeed for a year for each, you're actually reducing, in that example, your estrogen, your cyclical estrogen
hmm.
exposure by about 20%. So,
Okay.
so it is different in that sense. But nonetheless, the amount of times that you have intercourse does not affect breast cancer or prostate cancer risk. Yeah. So whether
Okay.
you're, a Catholic priest, or, somebody who's, freewheeling from the 60s, it doesn't make a difference in that regard. But people are afraid, and people, I think the best thing to get out of something like Movember is the openness to
Yes.
talk about these issues, because it's a mix of the word cancer, which is the scariest word in any language, and then nobody wants to talk about the sexual side effects.
Yeah.
And the sexual side effects are very real, but I would say for the most part, I see it bring families together. That they understand how to support each other, and love each other, and create intimacy that is
Okay.
absent traditional intercourse. That we what the key is, you have to ask, and in
Okay.
this,
So,
go ahead.
sorry. So, like for breast cancer, we teach our kids really young to feel themselves for lumps and all that. But prostate is so deep inside, there's no way you can actually feel yourself. It's, I don't think it's
Not
legal to
legally.
do that. It's not legally. Yeah, I know it's not legal to do that.
No, it's a
And
joke. That's a joke.
uh,
So
the
unfortunately, um, according to US guidelines, Singapore and Asia is a little different, but for the most part, and it's we really wish there was like a mammogram for prostate cancer, but there isn't. We have a blood test called the PSA blood test. It stands for prostate specific antigen. It was discovered in the late 80s, commercialized in the 90s, very popular for 20 years, but essentially it's not a great test for finding men at risk for prostate cancer. It's a little bit better in Asia, because in the US, for example, and in Europe and in Australia, pretty much all the men who are at risk, sort of under the radar, have already been screened. So there was this big jump in the 90s. Like, we found all of these men with prostate cancer that we didn't know about. But then that number came down. And if you just look at the sort of year to year, prostate cancer screening isn't finding men with prostate cancer who are at risk from dying from prostate cancer. And that's what a screening test should do. It shouldn't just find all of the people with a condition. That's like trying to find, all of the people who are going to lose their hair, or all of the people who might, get cataracts. What we need is a test that finds people with the deadly version of the disease. Because prostate cancer is a really common condition associated with aging, and 80-90% of men who get prostate cancer are going to die with it, but not from it. They're far more likely to die from heart attack, stroke, Alzheimer's, or other cancers than they are from prostate cancer. And so if you try to screen everybody at 60 or 65, what you're going to do is create a lot of anxiety, and then you're going to do a lot of surgery, radiation, and castration, and make everybody's quality of life go down, and then wait for the Alzheimer's to kick in.
That's when they forget. Okay, and be happy again.
Well, maybe not so happy. Maybe not so happy. Yeah.
So early detection is not necessary for this? Is that what you're saying?
Early detection is controversial in the US. Early detection in westernized countries, early detection is controversial. I think that PSA testing needs to be performed in the context, in an understanding of the risks and benefits, because people think that this arbitrary cut point of 4 means that I have or don't have prostate cancer. And it doesn't mean that at all. PSA goes up with age. Prostates get bigger as men age. So, an 80-year-old man with a PSA of 8, that's kind of a normal. A PSA of 8 in a 40-year-old is probably an infection. And so, so PSA is just not, it's so far from a perfect test that we don't put it in our health screening program. But here's the difference. If you come in to Tucker Medical and want to talk about health screening, after we ask you about, your cholesterol and surgeries and medicine and allergies, we're going to spend a lot of time taking a family history. And family history is really critical. So if I find a history where, my uncle had prostate cancer at 55 and died at 65, and my grandfather had prostate cancer also, now you're a high-risk individual, and a PSA test is useful. But even more so, at this point, now I'm going to talk about what might be the mammogram for men, and that would be an MRI of the prostate. So increasingly, we do MRI of the prostate in people at high risk, and we do a lot of genetic testing in people who have family history of not just prostate cancer, but breast cancer, ovarian cancer, and pancreas cancer. The genes that follow the famous breast cancer genes, BRCA1 and 2, also, particularly BRCA2, predisposed to prostate cancer. So doing screening to everyone across the world, like all at once, probably is going to cause more harm than good. But if you can narrow it to individuals who have a personal risk, then you're doing a much better job at helping people understand the risks and benefits of screening, and you can talk to them about the risks and benefits of, say, biopsy, that sort of thing. Yeah, it's all about personalized medicine.
Yeah, so what you just said is, so we'll be able to find a deadlier version by talking about your history, right?
You'll find if you're at risk for a deadlier version, and then we're going to fix it. Because there's no point in finding the deadlier version and saying, good luck.
Yeah. True.
We won't do that. We want to find the people at risk. Those are the ones that we can help. We don't want to cause harm by just overdiagnosing prostate cancer that in adults who have so many other problems that prostate cancer is never going to kill them. That's really
Yes.
the issue. Yeah.
Yep. And as a spouse, as a partner, what should we do?
Well, you should be supportive. You should be encouraging to make sure that their, health is being checked. Um, you being supportive without bullying, without comparing,
Yeah.
without
Okay. That's all.
shaming. No.
Okay. I can do that. But I
Yeah.
like the bully word.
But you need to, but also be comprehensive. Cancer is such a hot topic. I see people come in and they want to do tumor markers, but they won't quit smoking. And so, I think as a spouse, you want to help somebody understand where you can be most helpful for them. That you're part of the solution is the goal.
Yeah.
And just showing care in that way. That's for sure.
Okay.
Sort of doing the research and leaving it on their desk.
And okay, just now you're saying that from either, I mean, it is all correlated, all the health wise, from the prostate, from the
Mm-hmm.
cardiac, from the
Mm-hmm.
diabetes, and like, what is the most, other than ED, that men goes to the doctor, you said just now?
What are the most common reasons men go to the doctor?
Yeah.
Chest pain
Oh,
and
okay.
erectile dysfunction.
Okay, the chest pain goes from your
Heart,
the heart,
angina, heart. Yeah.
and want to elaborate a little bit more on that?
So, the heart disease is still the number one killer. In most places, heart disease is the number one cause of death for men and women. And men have a sort of a continuous risk of heart disease from about age 25, into their 100 to age 100. Women don't get that risk until after menopause. They still have risk pre-menopause, and they have to sort of be evaluated carefully. But after menopause, women have the same risk. And chest pain is sort of the classic way that people think about it. They grab their chest and, you see it in the movies, something like that. But it can be much more subtle. It can be jaw pain or neck pain, tooth pain. It can be a sense of shortness of breath. And any of those signs would be something that should be evaluated by a doctor. And even if it goes away, it could be temporary. A man gets chest pain on the tennis court. He says, I was just playing too hard. But once he, sits on the bench and drinks some water, he feels fine again. That's angina, or, a loss of blood flow to the heart temporarily. But that's the same as impotence. And so when you're not getting blood flow to the organ of interest, and both of those, whether it's the impotence or incontinence, should be discussed with a doctor and part of a health screen, health evaluation, because those aren't the diseases. Those are the signs and the symptoms of some other underlying disease. That's really, really what's going on. Yeah.
And lately, I've been hearing about GERD.
Yeah. Reflux.
And refluxes, and how that is related to heart. And
it can be confusing. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have a friend? You want to tell me a story?
I have a friend who actually passed because they didn't know what it was. He said that he was having a tummy ache, and then he just passed on because we never knew what happened. And finally they say, oh, it's heart. So, but it
That's
started
terrible.
with a tummy ache.
That's terrible. Yeah, sometimes chest pain and heart attacks can just feel like indigestion.
Yeah. So,
It can be stomach pain. But it's when it happens once and goes away, you can sort of, acknowledge it and say that, yeah, that was gas, that was a bad meal, that was something that we all get. But if it happens all the time, then it's worth investigating. I can see in the thread there, you can die from GERD. No, you can't die from GERD. So, Francisca 10, you can't die from GERD. Just so you know, I want to make, but GERD is bad too. Chronic reflux is usually a sign of pressure in the abdomen, usually from obesity or fatty liver, and it can also cause different kinds of cancer as well. So some risk of esophageal and stomach cancer for chronic GERD. That's for sure. Yeah. Oh, I'm glad. I got a smiley face from Francisquita in there.
yeah, it's a few. Yes. So,
Good,
yeah,
good.
so it's
So,
but then how again can so the you were we were repeating, I'm sorry to repeat this again. So bad lifestyle, which is meaning overloaded yourself with sugar and carbs, it's
mhm. Lack of
considered
exercise, poor sleep,
like, yes, and that causes
chronic disease.
chronic diseases, and that also meaning that you could get the higher chances of getting prostate cancer.
Absolutely. So there was this famous study. It was done in the US, and they took 8,000 men. These guys are to be commended because they were all technically healthy men. And it was a prostate cancer, it was a study about taking a pill to prevent prostate cancer. Okay?
There is
And
such a
so,
pill.
yes, there is. There is. So I mean, the pill does exist, and this is in the 90s when they thought, wow, this pill might prevent prostate cancer. It's a common medicine that's used to shrink the prostate so that men can urinate more freely. Not more
Okay.
openly, but just more easily. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
And so this medicine shrinks the prostate, and they thought it might be a really good drug to prevent prostate cancer. So they found 8,000 men in the US, and they were equally balanced. They split them into two groups: 4,000 getting a sugar pill, a placebo, and 4,000 people getting the active medicine. And they were, as the scientists say, well balanced. Like there were an equal number of Caucasians and non-Caucasians, and equal numbers of people with heart disease or high blood pressure or diabetes. The ages were all, sort of in the same ballpark. And it was what they say is well balanced. Now, these guys are like superheroes because they were all healthy, and they all had a PSA blood test at the beginning that had to be, I think, 4 or less to get into the study. And they all agreed to be randomly assigned the placebo or the medicine. The doctor didn't know, the patient didn't know. It's the classic double-blind randomized clinical trial. But they all agreed that after 2 years and after 4 years, everyone agreed to get a prostate biopsy. That hurts. I mean, that's just like signing up. Just
It to
yeah,
get okay. Okay.
twice, twice. I'm like,
Okay.
that's a good
Crazy.
Samaritan. Okay, you might just be taking the
Okay.
sugar pill and the placebo, and yet you're going to go get 2 prostate
Yes.
biopsies. So here's the catch. Imagine that you're in the treatment arm where you're just getting the sugar pill, okay? And they do biopsies on all 4,000 men. And to keep the math simple, everyone can think of out of 1,000 men, or overall, what percentage of these otherwise healthy 55 to 70-year-old men with no major medical conditions taking a placebo, what percentage of them had prostate cancer at their biopsy? And the answer is, and it's a shocking number, 24%.
The drum.
24%. That's a
From the
lot
placebo?
from the placebo. Yeah. So if you think about it, out of 1,000 men, 240 who are taking a placebo volunteer. If you just take 1,000 men walking down Michigan Avenue in Chicago and do biopsies, 24% of them have prostate cancer. Now, what
Wow.
about the other arm, the people taking the active drug? And the people
Yeah.
taking the active drug, guess how many? 18%. Now, when I first heard the study, when you think about it, you're like 18, 24, 18, these are both high numbers.
Yeah.
But it's the difference. It's that 6% absolute difference that matters. And it's actually the single best cancer prevention trial ever done with a drug. Now, think about this. If I gave you a magic wand that you could get, what's the difference between 18 and 24? It's a 25% reduction, right? Yeah. It's a 25% reduction in the number of people getting prostate cancer. So if I said, oh, you can have 25% off, your next purchase at Seriously Keto, well, I would buy everything, in the store. But if it's 25% on 100,000 people at risk is huge. If you just compare 18 to 24, it doesn't seem so much. But in that study, what they identified was that this drug, which shrinks the prostate, reduces the chance of prostate cancer by at least 25% in the general population. And we use this medicine all the time in people at high risk. If your dad had prostate cancer, if you come from a family history of prostate cancer, or even if I'm trying to diagnose prostate cancer, if you have a high PSA, then this will help me determine whether it's a dangerous PSA or not. But we do have prevention strategies, but they still need to be personalized, in that way. Crazy, huh? So good. A lot of, I'm not sure I'd volunteer for the study.
Especially on placebos.
Yeah. Yeah.
So actually, Nana Whitney here. Hi, Nana. She's asking, to what degree does low carb or no sugar diet go towards cancer and heart disease prevention? I think a lot.
Yeah, I think you can answer that. You go for it. Keep telling them. It's more than a lot.
It is. So the more I read about what sugar does to your body, the more scared I am actually to put sugar inside myself. So I'm such a snob now at sugar. I go like, and I actually frown at people too. So I'm so sorry, my friends.
Judgy. Are you being judgy to people eating sugar?
It depends, but I don't give them. I just give them a look, but not. Yeah, I'm becoming such a snob.
I think you have to find out.
Save them.
Yes.
I want to save them because if I have to live to 100, I want to live with everyone that I love.
I think we need to find a way to teach them without creating any shame.
No shame.
We can't. I don't think that a bakery imagine a bakery in an airport, sort of like what they've done to the smoking lounge, where you just see that glass box with all the smoke and that poor vent, right? So we can't do that to the sugar eaters. But I think we have to educate everyone as to how sugar can impact their life negatively. So
Yeah.
it's all about, you've seen it before, our
Yes,
friend the
the
glucose meter. Uh-huh.
glucose meter. So when you're constantly on a high on the glucose meter, so the chances of you getting sick with all the metabolic health, with the inflammations, is really, really higher. Yeah.
Uh, I'm sorry, say again? You cut out.
So if you're constantly high on that glucose meter that you're
Right.
doing, so you're constantly high on the number, and what is the number that you're comfortable with?
So, I mean, if you're the glucose meter itself doesn't give you the number. I think the number you're looking for is what we call the hemoglobin A1C,
Yes.
which is the average blood sugar over sort of the last 2 months. And that number is
Okay.
reported as a percent. And so
Mm-hmm.
if you're 6.5% or
Mm-hmm.
above, that's
Mm-hmm.
diabetes.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Anybody, everybody remember that. 6.5% or above, that is full on diabetes.
Yeah.
6.5 is diabetes and 9.5 is diabetes.
9.5 is so.
6.5 is better than 9.5, but
It
nonetheless,
is.
it's still diabetes. And according
Okay.
to the American Diabetes Association, 5.7 to 6.4% is pre-diabetes. So,
Okay.
yeah. Now, the question,
Okay.
this is a setup because I know you know the answer. Is diabetes forever, or could it be reversed?
I know that. I know. I know.
What's the answer?
Yes, it's reversible
It
by a
is.
lifestyle.
It is. And do you personally now know people who used to be on insulin that no longer take insulin?
Yes, I do.
Uh-huh.
I do. I
Yeah.
do.
They're
Yeah.
very happy. It's pretty cool,
They
isn't
are
it?
very, very happy. Yes, it is. It is. It's amazing. And and they feel it's beyond happiness, they say thank you to me, they say thank you to you. They keep saying, oh my God, he saved me, you know and and I keep saying that it
But
is a lifestyle. You have to adopt it as a lifestyle, because it is doable that you could actually live without sugar.
yeah. And live without taking insulin shots.
Yes,
That's what's incredible. Yeah.
yes,
That
yes.
that's and they need to know that. And that's the sense of uh, empowerment, and people realize that they are in control of their own body,
Mm, yes.
that they don't have to go to the doctor all the time, and they don't have to spend their extra money on medicines and insulin syringes and things like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. It is. It is. It is. It actually free up a lot of my brain space when I don't have to think of what I eat. As long as I know there's no sugar, it's like I can eat
I
whatever.
There's definitely a type of person that once they understand the protein, carb, fat paradigm, the macros, and they
Yes.
understand that eating carb causes diabetes or excess carbs, processed carbs, excess, they're like, oh, I won't eat that anymore. I mean, that
Yeah.
they can just turn it off. They
Yep.
don't get tempted. So, and it
Yes.
does make life easier if you're that kind of person. You don't have to think about it nearly as much.
Yes.
You can just think about
Yes.
where to get a good piece of beef.
Yeah. You know that. Okay. I don't see any more questions, and maybe we can wrap this up because hold on, there's no more questions, right? Oh, so if you're diabetic, your HB1AC is 6.5. What does that mean? That means you are a diabetic.
It means, depending upon where you are, you might be a very well controlled diabetic.
Yes.
I mean, you're the healthiest diabetic I can imagine. And if I met you, I would encourage you to become a pre-diabetic.
Yep. And get off insulin.
Yeah, 6.5 there. I mean, yeah, you don't know if they're taking insulin at 6.5 or not, how they got to 6.5. But we would always offer the option of how to not just reverse diabetes, but reduce your reliance on medicines. That's really the key.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, all right. Okay, this is a question.
Can I,
What do you eat at Seriously Keto to prevent ED? Everything.
so if you go for some of the little cupcakes with the sprinkles on top, Yanti won't tell you, but sometimes they might have Viagra in them. Just kidding. I'm not sure anything in there will prevent the ED, but I think that reversing diabetes will absolutely help the erections blossom in the right person. That's for sure. It won't
Okay,
hurt to bring them a
so
cupcake.
May here says that she is the healthiest diabetic and she is taking insulin. So May scenario, if you actually is interested, we can actually reverse that. You don't
Well,
have to
maybe we
take
can talk
insulin.
about. We need to know more. I won't jump right into yes, but
Oh,
we
I
always need
do.
to know more. She could be a
Well, I'm
childhood
not a doctor.
diabetic. She could be a
I'm not a
childhood
doctor, so I
diabetic.
can tell you. I can tell you you should
None of
actually
this is
reverse this.
construed as medical advice. We've said that before. We'll get the lawyers to come marching across the screen again and back and forth. But yeah. but yeah, we'd be happy to talk about that. And if you give me 1 second, you and I both know that the real credit goes to the nutritionists on my team and my nurses.
Yes, yes,
Kartika and Ashrafi are the most amazing nutritionists, and
yes,
the
they are.
team of nursing and the whole staff. I just sort of cheerlead everybody to not eat sugar so much, but they do the hard work and talk to everyone every day.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. It is. Everybody needs to have a support community because not taking sugar initially is really, really hard. And 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 once you get the hang of it, it's easier, but it's really a support community really, really, really helps. So, and yeah, you have a
It's
great team.
cutting cutting out sugar sugar's an addiction, and cutting it
It
out
is.
is very, very difficult. That's for sure.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
We should do a topic about sugar addiction actually one day, shall we?
Yeah. Well, yeah, we can do that. Absolutely.
Yes.
There's so much to
Yes.
talk about. We can do addiction. We can talk about fasting. Did I tell you what I did last week?
Tell me.
5-day fast.
Oh, you did it?
I did it. I did the Prolon, the
Awesome.
fasting mimicking diet. And
Uh,
the highest compliment I got from my wife and my team was, and I was even mostly pleasant the whole time.
hmm,
But
mostly pleasant.
I was, yeah,
Okay.
it was good. It
Okay.
was really good. 5 days. I'll send you my glucose readings. But they were
Okay.
running really, really low the whole time.
I had I had I had only done I only had done a what was that? 60 hours. That's about two
Mm.
and a half days.
Yeah,
You did.
that's good.
Oh,
That's good.
oh, I'm gonna
Yeah.
challenge myself to do that again.
I think we should work together and probably at this point. I did it last week because I don't see a time in the next 6 weeks where I can
You could
commit
do that.
where I want to commit to a
Yeah.
5-day fast. But I could imagine the second week of January as being, a time that we could talk about
Oh,
a, you know,
let's do
a regional
a group.
5-day fast. Yeah.
I'm in. I'm in. I'm in.
Of course you're
I'm
in.
in.
We're gonna have to do this every night. We're gonna do IG live. Like, hey, let's talk
Oh,
about what
okay.
we didn't eat today.
Yeah, I could do that.
We can talk about what we'll eat next week.
Okay, so actually, I read somewhere that if you fast, do a water fasting for an extended long time, like what you did for 5 days, it kills cancer cells for about 90%.
So what fasting there's a lot of different reasons that people fast, and a lot of potential outcomes in our bodies depending upon how long we fast. And once you fast for 3 to 5 days, you induce something that the scientists call autophagy. And that's a
Mm-hmm.
kind of cell death. And the easier way to think about it is that it's like stem cell therapy. It's rejuvenation. And so cancers have stem cells that are like the grandma cells spitting out the little baby cancer dangers. But also our skin and our gut and our bone marrow have healthy stem cells. But those stem cells, those stem cells get old and accumulate mistakes over time. And what you want to do is make the stem cells themselves go into a regenerative mode and make new young stem cells. And
Sure. Yeah.
that's what happens with prolonged fasting. You've probably also now, since you've started the bakery and made this whole lifestyle in the last couple of years, have come across people who have lost more than 100 pounds.
Yeah.
And the number one complaint, that just like sexuality and prostate cancer, the thing that goes unsaid are skin folds.
Yes.
People talk about, how do I get rid of this excess skin now that I've lost 100 pounds or 100 kilos?
Yeah.
And actually prolonged fasting, there is some evidence that by doing prolonged fasting, typically water fasting, you
Mm-hmm.
will create autophagy and kill those fat stem cells and
Mm-hmm.
and slowly begin to tighten up skin without
Mm-hmm.
surgical intervention. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
And that goes also, like you said, to the cancer cells. Yeah. We want to go
Yeah.
back there.
I like Bula base here with the thread, rest in peace cell.
Oh yeah.
Good.
Yeah,
Good.
so that kills the bad mother cancer cell.
Yes. Yeah.
So
It
for,
definitely
do
helps.
you
And
do you advise your cancer patients to fast for a long time, a prolonged fasting?
we use fasting during chemotherapy all the time. So one of the other benefits of fasting is that when we have to give traditional chemotherapy, whether it's prostate or breast or colon cancer, the way chemotherapy works is it interrupts cells that are rapidly dividing by
Mm.
altering their DNA. And so if we have someone fast, the healthy cells will get the signal and slow down. But cancer cells ignore that signal and keep running at a high rate. And so what happens is, when you're fasting and we give chemo, healthy cells get less toxicity. They're sort of protected from the chemo. But the cancer cells, because they ignore the message, actually get more chemo, and you get a double benefit, less side effect with more cancer specific killing. And so typically chemo is given every 3 weeks, and we'll do a 48-hour fast before treatment and 24-hour fast after treatment. And what we see, which is consistent with published medical studies, is significantly less side effect. And in the patients, particularly in breast cancer patients who are getting chemotherapy before surgery, which is a common thing to do to shrink the tumor so you can do a smaller operation, we see the tumor completely disappear. So
Oh,
it's pretty amazing.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
let's go fasting. It sounds
yeah.
good. It
You know,
sounds really good.
the best thing about
Yeah.
fasting is breaking the fast.
Okay, so what do you eat when you break a fast?
But I eat what I want. I mean, it depends how long. I mean, if it's a long fast, maybe you
After
should
your
start
five
with,
days?
after 5 days, take it easy. Maybe some soup, maybe, just some light food, I had chicken.
Well, be
I
smart.
had
Be
some
smart.
carbs. I had some carbs, that was fine. But after a shorter fast, I mean, I think that, I was thinking we could go to the bakery, but
Okay.
good, good.
Okay, I think we can, there's no more questions.
Okay. That's been a good hour.
Yeah, it is, it
Yeah.
is, it is.
Okay.
And I thank you so much for being very, very open and sh with your sharing.
Happy to do
It's
so.
it's very, very informative. And thank you, because I think whoever had come today to watch this live is everyone is like close to me, and I just want everybody to live with me for the next 50 years.
Don't sell it short. Let's go for 100.
Oh my God. Okay, as long as you're in there, I'm
I'll be
fine.
here. I'll be here.
Okay. All
Okay.
right.
Thank you, everyone,
Thank
for
you
listening to
so
us.
much, Dr.
Okay.
Tucker. Thank
Thank you, Auntie.
you.
Thank you, Seriously Keto. Thank you to my team at Tucker Medical. Bye.
Yes,
Thank
thank
you,
you,
Shazana,
everyone.
for all your help. Bye.
Oh, the IT guy.
IT gal. Okay. Thank
Yes,
you. Bye.
yes, yes. Okay. Thank you so much, guys. Okay, how do I get off this?